Let me tell you why I can't do a live reaction for this chapter. My dear mother, who I love very, very much, sent me a message in the morning before I had even read Naruto or One Piece or anything. And she says, this is in Spanish, she says, "Good morning, Trafalgar D Law. I hope you have a good day." And at first I thought she was joking, because, you know, she likes to joke. And then I read the chapter and I'm like, oh shit, she just spoiled the chapter. In her defense, I think maybe she thought that I had already read it. Ever since Usopp got his haki, Oda has been on point. Just great, great content. Chapter opens up and it's another very harsh scenario. Except this time, it pertains to Doflamingo, Corazon, and his dad. And they're being hung outside of these windows. And if you look closely, they're being shot with arrows, and people are pissed because of what they represent. Even though they're not technically celestial dragons anymore, that's why they can take advantage of the situation, and because the Marines are not going to do shit. People in the town want the Don Quixote family to experience some of the pain that they've gone through thanks to the celestial dragons. Obviously, this is a very traumatic experience for Doflamingo. He's crying his eyes out. He has like a little bit of snot. So much so, in fact, that he's actually having nightmares about the experience. How many years after that? I mean, so that wakes him up. It's a nightmare. And I don't know if dreams necessarily are triggered by stuff, but you have to remember that he fell asleep reading the book about Flavant. So maybe Law's past triggered that memory. Now, when he wakes up, we actually get a close-up of one of his eyes, which we've never seen before. And we also find out that Corazon's name is Rocinante, which is a reference to the horse that belonged to Don Quixote in the Spanish novel. I don't know if it was intentional, but I thought it was cool to find out what Corazon's name was and then find out what Law's name was in the same chapter. Now, the choice that Doflamingo's father made, whether it was right or wrong, that's up to you. Personally, I think there were good intentions, and then the situation just went horribly wrong. And remember, you just have to keep this in mind, whatever you decide. When they left Marijoa, they weren't going into poverty. They were still living in a mansion or a decent-sized house. They still had gold and money. It's just like, you know, he just didn't want to live amongst the Tenryubido. So they went back, and then it just went horribly wrong. But were there good intentions? Yeah. Was he naive? Yeah. Because, I mean, it's like you should have foreseen that people were going to turn on you, especially if you didn't have the protection of the Celestial Dragons anymore. And that would obviously end up endangering the well-being of your family. For Doflamingo, this is a fucking culture shock. It's like he doesn't know how to cope with this. Because imagine, like, you're a celebrity one day, and then the next day you're eating shit from a dumpster. You know, you get your house burned down. People don't like you. They're constantly beating the shit out of you and your brother. Which, by the way, I think that explains why Corazon didn't make such a big deal out of Law stabbing him. I've been stabbed before. Little kid doing it again? Not a big deal. We step out of Doflamingo's flashback and we enter Law's flashback. And I think it's interesting, again, that after he gets this memory back from his childhood, Doflamingo offers Law the opportunity to join him. So there has to be some type of like relatability thing. Like, okay, you went through that shit, I went through this shit, join me. You know, you look promising. And then Doflamingo gives Law hope. He says, maybe you can find a devil fruit ability that allows you to somehow overcome your sickness. It's interesting, though, that he doesn't mention the Opi Opi no Mi specifically. Maybe Doflamingo was thinking about Brook's devil fruit, because that's basically what it allows the user to do. It allows the user to come back after they're dead. Somebody left a comment saying that Makvice looks like he has the Uzumaki symbol on his shirt. Then we get kind of a montage of the Don Quixote family members just expanding their network and going to different places and intimidating people and beating people up. But there's something really interesting about this. There's this one panel where this pirate is about to attack Kid Law and Baby Five. That's a very interesting page because, for one, you notice that Baby Five already has her devil fruit ability because her leg or the end of her foot is turning into a pistol. Second, I think Doflamingo ended up saving the two kids, because if you look at the background, well, first of all, Corazon is on fire again. But if you look at the background, you see the same pirate and he's knocked out. But if you look at his back is shredded. So it kind of makes me realize that maybe Doflamingo already had his string fruit ability, because that's what he does with his strings. He cuts people sometimes. And then Law is crying while wearing a shirt that says weep. And he's hiding the fact that he's crying by pulling his hat down, which is something I think that Luffy does a lot. So, you know, the will of D, man. We get a conversation between Baby Five and Buffalo, who, by the way, those aren't their real names, which I thought, okay, yeah, so everybody has a code name, which makes sense, you know, with Corazon being Rocinante. And we find out that Law is actually a D. He is Trafalgar D, Water Law, which kind of sounds like Waterloo, which is the battle in which Napoleon was defeated. And Trafalgar is also a battle that took place during the Napoleon years. Most importantly, though, Corazon tells him, you need to get the fuck out of here. Turns out he's not mute, so he says, like, you need to leave Doflamingo immediately. Like, this is dangerous. The moment you said you were a D, no. And if I remember, before Doflamingo shot Law 3 times, I think the last thing that we got was Law telling Doflamingo that the will of D will rise up a storm or something like that. And he got pissed. Doflamingo was super pissed. So it's like, obviously this grudge against people with D's in their name has not gone away. Kind of want to know if Doflamingo's problem with people that have D's in their names has anything to do with the fact, with the secret that he discovered in Marijoa. Because remember, he said that he knows something, okay, that if he reveals it to the world or something like that, it's going to cause a fucking mess. And the Tenryubito don't like that he knows. And that's how he's been able to blackmail them since then. So I'm wondering if he already knows or if Law is going to be the way that he finds out. Garp, Dragon, Luffy, Ace, Teach, Saul. Who else am I missing here? I mean, Law now. Duh! Roger. Yeah, they all have D's in their names. Maybe I'm skipping somebody else too, but I thought the chapter was great. Tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe to my channel to get more One Piece reviews, and I would really appreciate a thumbs up from you. Thank you.